Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Fadeaway Podcast. I'm Ben, back once again with Hisham. How you doing?
Uh, Not so great. It's not the best game three from my perspective, but honestly, Giannis was great, so I guess we'll get into that. But yeah,
No
doing
more
well
Suns in
otherwise.
four.
No more Suns in four. I guess the
No
Suns
more
in
Suns in
four
four.
guy is gonna,
No more
he might be a
Suns.
bit sad.
But
Hey,
Bucks and
he's
six
famous.
is still on the table.
Bucks and six. I had Suns in six, so I think that's still there. So yeah.
The Brandon Jennings prophecy. Have you seen that one?
No.
So it was a few years ago. It was like LeBron Heat days, and it was like the Bucks were still like up and coming. They were like the 8th seed, and they were playing the Heat in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And the reporter asked Brandon Jennings, who's on the team at the time, "How do you think the series will play out?" And like, they're gonna lose, but as a player, what are you gonna say? You can't be like, "Yeah, we're gonna get swept."
Yeah.
He says, with the most confidence that he could muster up at the time, Bucks in 6. And since then, since he said that, the Bucks have never won a series in 6 games.
No way. That's actually insane.
Until this last series that they won.
Wow.
That's so crazy. The curse broken. Let's see if it continues. Maybe it's only Bucks in 6 from here on out. We'll have to find out.
I hope not. Yeah, so what did you think of game 3 and the series overall so far?
Yeah, so I think honestly, I want to give Bud some credit because he's been making adjustments. I don't think I'd say it, but even last series too, a little bit. Like the biggest thing I noticed starting game 2 was defending the pick and roll with Chris Paul so much better, and not leaving like Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis on an island against him and allowing him to do whatever he wanted. By like forcing Drew Holiday to like go over those screens and make him or trap and then force him to make a pass, they're really getting the ball out of his hands. And I think their offense pretty much runs through Chris Paul. So that was a big improvement I think that they made, and it carried over into game 3. I like seeing those Giannis at the 5 lineups. I think those work really well. And I said at the beginning, like if the Bucks can make adjustments, I think that they have a really good chance to win this, and it just kind of showed tonight. Of course, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton actually showed up, so that is also a big thing. But even then, like they won by 20 points. They didn't need to have great games for them to win this game. Like it wasn't really necessary. Like they played well, but they didn't have to. Like that's 20 points on the table basically that were kind of extra. So. I don't know. I think we've got ourselves a series. I think people rate this Bucks up team off too easily because of how streaky they are, and they're just such an inconsistent team. But they've proved that, like when they're on, they're really on, and they can be the best team in the league almost.
Oh man, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why Milwaukee won this game. All right, it's because Devin Booker couldn't find the basket. Devin Booker, after being amazing in game 2, goes and does 3 for 14 and 1 for 7 from 3 in game 3, just when we needed him to close it out. And he didn't, I don't know if you noticed, but he basically didn't play the 4th quarter.
Not at all.
He was just, Monty Williams was just like, okay, clearly this guy can't find the basket. We need to rest him. No need to like risk an injury or whatever. Save him for game 4. Man, that was just disappointing for me because I think the issue, but in all honesty, obviously the Bucks had a good game. Like you said, man, these guys are just so frustrated. If I was a Bucks fan, I was just so frustrated. You see a game like this where like Middleton's hitting shots, he's playing great defense, Holiday's hitting shots, playing great defense, Giannis is doing his thing, and then it's just like you have a game like game 2 where Giannis does everything and nobody else contributes anything.
Yeah.
So it's super up and down. I feel like, is it just me or is this going to be a home series? Like, it just feels like this could be like get 3 and 4 for Milwaukee. The home crowd is crazy. And they go back to Phoenix. Phoenix wins the game and then keeps kind of just going on and off. I just don't see. I mean, the other thing that I really noticed that was key was Ayton was good. Like if you looked at his stats, 18 and 9, like not bad. But the issue was he got in foul trouble early.
Yeah.
And when he got in foul trouble with the Dario Saric injury and Torrey Craig kind of like,
Yeah.
not at
He
his
came
full
back in, but he didn't look great.
didn't look right. Didn't look right. It just feels like they're lacking some depth. Like I mean, they can't. Frank the Tank is not
Frank the
going to stop.
Tank, you're
Not going to stop
disrespecting
Giannis.
him.
So I don't know. They need to figure out a way, because when they went to the zone, like when Aiden was out, Giannis was just destroying them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what the solution is here. I think the other thing is they just didn't shoot the three very well. 9 for 31 is probably not going to win you that many games.
Jay Crowder game though.
Crowder
Hate to see
was
a
good.
wasted. I mean, that's his one game for this series.
Yeah,
I think like
yeah,
that's your
probably
Jay
is.
Crowder game where he actually contributes like a hefty amount of points offensively.
Yeah.
And he's usually due for maybe one of those a series.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of bad because they might have wasted that. I mean, who knows? He could do it again, but I wouldn't, if I'm the Suns, expect this kind of performance from Jay Crowder again. So
Yeah.
unfortunate to see them waste that performance. But yeah.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about, the stuff around the edges, but I think, we need to give Giannis his flowers. What do you think?
I would say I don't want to disrespect the greatness of Shaq, but that's like what he was playing, like less kind of post move savvy, maybe like half as wide Shaq,
Yeah.
but like I think it goes down to the biggest thing that I was saying before is he's not being afraid to shoot free throws, and he's actually hitting them now. He's not hitting 80-90%, but he's not shooting 20%. So
amazing. He was amazing.
Going into the paint and being aggressive is what gets DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. And sure, maybe you only make half of them, but like getting to the line and just being aggressive is like all you need.
I mean,
it was. I mean, he was 13 for 17 on free throws. Like that's the best you can ask for. And at that point, it's not going to be a close game. You don't have to worry about hitting free throws at the end of games. So like, I think that this was the game plan, and this is how I think Giannis should be utilized. Like mostly, not taking the ball up the court all the time, unless it's like a fast break and in transition, and just like posting up, like getting a switch, a mismatch, and having him post up like Cam Johnson like 30 times in a row. You cannot defend that. You have to send multiple people, and then he still scores and gets a foul. Like this is how Giannis should be utilized. And I don't think there's anyone, like, there's no way to defend him like this unless you have like an Embiid or whatever. Like, there's not too many players in this league that can actually deal with that. He's so fast, so strong, and he's got decent touch around the rim. I think if he like improves on his post moves, like that kind of like 10, 12-foot shot fadeaway, he'd literally be unstoppable. Like, I think that's where his game needs to go. Not taking threes, not being a main ball handler, just working down low like that. I mean, in the first quarter, the Bucks shot like almost all of their shots in the paint. Every single possession was going to the hoop. And I think that's what you got to do. You can't have a bad shooting night when all you're doing is layups, free throws, and dunks. Like, I think that's what it's going to need to be. And I find it really funny because the league for so long has been going towards three-pointers only, and they were just like, you know what? We had some cold shooting nights. Can't go cold if we're not shooting threes. And even the Suns too. A lot of mid-range jumpers is pretty interesting because it's kind of the opposite of where the league's been going. But yeah, I think Giannis is. It's funny. I think it might maybe like because he's on the Bucks. He's not like the flashiest player. He just doesn't get as much credit as some of these other guys, but he's improved his game a lot, especially from like seeing him when he first came into the league. Like whether it's not as much like handles and shooting, it's more so like bulking up so he can actually use his frame like effectively. He's just put the work in, and I'm happy for him. He's really shown out and shown everyone why he's like a MVP type player.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is like we forget that he almost went through a horrific injury
Yeah, they thought he might not play this whole series.
Yeah, he said in an interview that he thought he might be out for a year when he was injured. So it's
Insane.
kind of crazy. He comes back game one. You're like, oh, he doesn't look right. He still has 20 and 17, right? And
Yeah.
comes game two, 42 and 12, and now followed up by 41 and 13. And then I don't know if you saw, but the reporter asked him after the game, like, Michael Jordan had 40 and 10 games in a row. And he just like, I think this is the thing I still love about him. Like, you can still see that he's humble. And he was just like, no, like, that's Michael Jordan, man. Like, I'm not Michael Jordan, like, and it was just so, it was nice to see. But like, at the same time, he's just absolutely ripping the Suns apart. Like, I just feel like, I think the only half decent matchup is when Aiden's there. But if Aiden's in trouble, then like foul trouble, then it's over. Good night. Like, it's over, because Jay Crowder can't, like, Jay Crowder is a good wing defender, but Giannis is like a freak, right? Like, he's a freak. Like,
just towers over him.
Yeah, it's a different matchup. So I'm not really sure what the Suns do from here. I mean, the only positive I take from this is I doubt Booker's gonna shoot this poorly again. And I doubt Cameron Payne is gonna shoot this poorly again. 3 for 10 for Payne. Didn't hit a single three, which he probably hasn't done in like a long time. Devin Booker 3 for 14. Like, I just don't see those numbers. The positives were that Paul and Ayton and Crowder were good. But I mean, again, I feel like Paul is good, but I feel like he's got to have more than 19 points. Like, if Booker's off, I want to see Paul try to take over a bit. Like, I know he's, a bit older and stuff, and he can't do it every game. But like, the game where Booker is not, doesn't have it going, like, I feel like those are the types of games he needs to, I don't know, take command a bit more.
Yeah. No,
especially with Ayton in trouble.
For sure. I wanted 2 points. I don't think Booker, since the broken nose, has had a really good shooting game. He had the one game, right, where the game 2.
Yeah, game 2.
Like 31. But besides
not super efficient.
Not really efficient, like not shooting close to like above or at 50%. Even game 1 where he scored with like 27, it's like all free throws.
Yeah.
Like, he has not really had a good effective shooting night since the nose injury. So I don't know if there's lingering effects from that, or it's, the other thing I say is, like, you get nerves, like, if your first time being in the finals, first like deep playoff run, and you wind up going to the finals, all those expectations, like, I don't know. I'd be a little bit worried if I'm the Suns, because he hasn't really had like a great shooting performance since that injury, and it's tough because he's like the guy who's expected to carry the load on this offense. And while Chris Paul can do it, he's not a really volume 3-point shooter. So like the closeout game with the Clippers, yeah, sure, he hit like 8-9 threes or something, but that's not his game. His game is pretty much the same thing, is getting the switch, dribbling around for a bit, either step back 3 or fade away mid-range.
Yeah.
And it's hard to rack up a lot of points like that, because one, not only is a long possession that is a bit tiring, like, sure, you've got like Brook Lopez or Portis on you, but just due to how big they are, they can still kind of contest those shots. And sure, he was knocking down a ton of them with like hands in his face and fadeaways, but it's for most players not a high efficiency shot. And while it is for Chris Paul, it's still difficult to make that your entire offense. Like we saw last night, that was most of their offense, but it's not really enough to kind of win games. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they've been running the same offense mostly this like whole playoffs, is the same strategy. They might have to try and switch it up somehow, especially when the Bucks go small and you switch Giannis on Chris Paul. He's able to like put some moves on him, but Giannis is so quick and so long that he's still able to contest those shots pretty well. So they might have to think about mixing it up a bit, especially for those small Bucks lineups.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about the Booker point that you brought up. He really hasn't been himself. I mean, I feel like even though he's scoring in volumes, he's taking a lot of shots and stuff. But the only good thing I would say is like in game I think one where that's the free throw one, right? He like had a bunch of free throws in that game.
Game one, he had like 10.
Yeah, like he finds a way to still, put points on the board, which is what I respect.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't do that last night. So, like for example, game one, he had a lot of free throws. Game two, the jumper was falling, and in game three, just wasn't happening. So I would challenge him. I feel like he's a mentally strong person. Like I feel like he's got that Mamba mentality. Like he'll come back in game four. I expect him to have at least 25. Like I expect him to have a strong game.
He has to.
He has to win. Because they're not gonna. I mean, they need to shoot the three better. First of all, I knew they weren't gonna shoot it, 50% like they did in game two, but I didn't expect it to fall sort of this low. So I don't know. They need to make some adjustments. The other thing is, it could be the Kendall Jenner curse. I don't know if that has something to do. Not the Kardashian curse, but the Jenner
Kardashian curse. Yeah.
But I have to say the bright spot for me was Cam Johnson. Big Cam.
Yeah, he's been playing well. All the Camerons, I don't know what's going on, but they've been stepping up in a big way and kind of keeping him in the game. Like
that poster though,
crazy. Poor PJ Tucker, dude.
Oh man,
I don't get. For some reason, NBA refs always call this. I think they just get caught up in the moment. They see a poster, they got to make it an and one. Like I feel like watching the replay, that's either a block or a no call.
Yeah.
But I feel like every time there's a poster, it's always a charge. You just have to pray they don't make the dunk, and then you can get the charge call. But yeah, highlight of the night. So that was good for them.
That's for sure.
That the fast break by the Bucks. The first half was pretty nice. A little behind the back pass. Also, shout out Bobby Portis, man. Like the lowest of the lows, from getting in fights on the Bulls to Knicks to not really playing for good chunks of this playoffs to becoming like an integral part in getting his name chanted in Milwaukee.
I know, it's crazy. Like he's a fan favorite.
Like every team, they always say you need that kind of guy. He's the like glue guy, the dirty work, plays good defense, hits some threes, gets some rebounds, just a big body to kind of match up with Ayton pretty well. Like, they found themselves a good one in Bobby Portis. I mean, he's playing a good role, especially on nights when like Brook Lopez's shot isn't really falling. So
I know that the other person I was impressed with was the Mass native, Pat Connaughton.
Good defense.
Good defense, right?
Really good defense. Like
I
think
like
his defense underestimated.
Yeah, exactly. And he was looked at as sort of like a weak link. Like they were targeting him in game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then
he's not Bryn Forbes. He's not. He stays in front of the ball well.
And I never understood why he was like being targeted, because his frame is big, like he's tall, like he's quick. I never understood why he was being targeted.
It's the white guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. There's a lot of, because it is like the 3 and D, not even 3, just like the token 3-point shooting white guy on your team. He's a defensive liability. In watching Grizzlies games, Grayson Allen gets targeted like crazy, but he is like a sneaky, like good defender. Like he can stay in front of the ball. He has quick hands.
Yeah.
But they just go after him, and it doesn't work. Like you can see them get frustrated. Like this guy's not supposed to be a good defender, but it works. Yeah. And I mean, like, I can't think of another reason why, because you watch them play, and like Pat Connaughton is a good defender. He's quick. He's in front of the ball. He's pretty strong. Like, he's not like a Bryn Forbes on defense.
Yeah. And there were less Brook Lopez minutes in this game. Played only 21 minutes. I think that's
crazy. 30 Pat Connaughton minutes is kind of crazy. Did not expect to see that, but he was playing really well.
Who knew? Bud knows how to make adjustments.
Hey, if that's all, if being told he couldn't make adjustments for years and not winning playoff series is what it took, then we'll take it. I mean, that's what you want to see. But yeah, I think that was honestly the biggest thing. Like, like at this point, Holiday and Middleton it's like a known quantity that they're inconsistent, right? Like you may or may not get a great game from them.
Yeah.
but improving your defense is something that can be pretty consistent. Like your defensive schemes and the way you actually defend the other team is something you can carry over. Is why I always say like defense wins championships.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like you don't have to play offense. It just means that defense is more consistent than offense. Your three may not be falling, your jumper may not be falling, but you can always play like good defense essentially.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to have an off night. So
no, that's true, but it's it's also great that they have a guy who can just get into the paint whenever he wants, and the three doesn't.
Yeah,
but yeah, of course,
and get yourself to the line, help slow the game down.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really have to, like we touched upon it, but the 13 for 17 from free throw is just incredible. After what he's been doing, it was great to see that for his confidence and everything. I mean, even as a Suns supporter in this series, I honestly just want to see Giannis go off. Like, it's just so, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to me that he gets a lot of hate, right? Like, it's just like, oh, he doesn't know how to shoot, he doesn't know how to do this. Like, I was listening to somebody else's podcast, and a lot of the stuff that they were talking about were like, why don't we criticize Steph Curry for not posting up then? It's like, let the guy do what he's good at doing. But I guess it's just because the game has shifted so much, and it feels like this guy's not doing like what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. But I think it might just be because of LeBron, right? Because if you think about it, he's like one of the most complete players today, if not ever. Yeah. We won't get into that, but like he was a guy who pretty much added something new to his game every season and made it look easy. Like take a Miami off season, let me just get a post game and then break it out in the next finals. Let me learn how to shoot a three, like not 40 or 50%, but he's a threat.
Good enough. Like, he's a threat. Yeah.
That's our bar. And then the bar is that high. And you got guys like KD, and we just are so lucky to see players that can do everything.
Yeah.
That you start expecting it from everyone else. But I think if you treat him more as like not a stretch five, but like just a hyper athletic center.
Yes.
Really set your expectations a lot more kind of to where he can actually be. And I think that's where his role really is in becoming just like top 5 player in the league. Like,
yeah, no, he's really solidifying himself.
Got a path.
This series. Yeah. I don't know. What are you thinking for game 4? Do you think it's a Milwaukee dub? Do you think Suns come out a bit stronger? What are you thinking?
I mean, I think the Suns, I don't think they'll shoot as poorly besides Jay Crowder. But I think the Bucks have a good game plan, right? Like, I think if they keep doing what they're doing, like, I don't know what the Suns' answer to that is, right? Like, if next game the Bucks just are like, you know what, we're just going to drive at the hoop the entire first quarter, and you get 2 to 3 fouls on DeAndre Ayton, like, you win the game there.
Yeah,
like, that's it. May stay close, and shout out Drew Holiday too, actually kind of creating some separation with those threes in like the second quarter when the Suns were kind of creeping back, but like they were always, it wasn't within reach, but they were always leading. Like without that kind of run, I still think the Bucks win the game by like 5-10 points, maybe not 20, but they'd still win. Yeah, I don't know what else the Suns can really do because they've, as we said before the series, and what I thought is that DeAndre Ayton is kind of the X factor. He's going to be the reason why the Suns win the series. Like they need big games from him. And of course, I don't think Devin Booker will shoot this poorly again.
Yeah.
But even if he does, he'll probably get to the line a bit more. Scott Foster game. What can you do?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Forgot to bring that up.
But yeah, he's just gonna have to like play amazing defense, I think, for them to win, like block shots, not get in foul trouble, and I think that's how they are gonna have to win. But it's a lot to ask for a third-year player, so we'll see. I got the Bucks taking this one.
Bucks game 4. So what are you still sticking with your? What was your finals prediction? Bucks in 6 or Bucks in 7?
Bucks in 7. I think it's not a series, right? Until a team wins away, right? Until we have an away win. I see the Bucks winning these I see, and once it gets to game 7 is when it's kind of like all bets are off. Sure, you got the
Yeah.
home court advantage, but like
Yeah.
I feel like it's not as much in a game
Yeah,
7
of course.
because
Yeah.
it's just all the stakes are a bit higher. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a bit.
I got it because right now, as of right now, Giannis is the best player on the floor,
Yes,
and
100%.
that I think is how you win usually playoff series and not the finals. You have the best player on the floor on your team.
Yeah. No, it's weird. It's like it's 2-1 to the Suns, but I don't feel confident at all in them. Like I feel like the Bucks have figured something out. It's kind of scary. But at the same time, I feel like the only reason I'm scared is because Middleton and Holiday had a good game, and we all know they can just doze off in the next one. So I don't know. I feel like the Suns are like a pretty mentally strong, stable team. Like they'll have a talk, they'll have a game plan, they'll come in trying to change something, knowing that they got bullied in the paint. Like at least try to make some adjustments. I know Monty Williams does not want to just sit around. But yeah, at the same time, another home game. If Giannis is feeling good, it's another 40-10 game. I mean, I don't know. I see Milwaukee winning this one as well. Um, I hope they don't, but I see them winning it.
There's the unbiased perspective.
But I do want to see a big Booker game to keep them in it. I think Booker and Aiden. Like I know Chris Paul is gonna get his 18 and 10 or whatever he's gonna get, like minimum. But I need Booker 25. I need Aiden like 20 and 10. And I need good defense, more importantly, from the Suns. And just gotta shoot the three better, man. Like I know they're not like a superhuman 3-point shooting team, but like they're better than what they were in game 3.
Yeah. Mikal Bridges didn't even take that many. He took like 2 threes last game.
Why did he only take 4 shots in the game?
I think it was just. I think they were just defending really well. Another good like stat that I saw was Chris Paul, Mr. Assist to turnover ratio, 10 turnovers in his last 2 games. The 5 games before that, 10 turnovers.
Yikes.
And the difference is Drew Holiday has just been defending him and fighting over screens and getting in his face. And he's just got bigger wingspan. He's stronger, bigger, and is able to kind of start poking. Like it was incredible to see how many turnovers the Suns were having. Like that's just not what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
And kind of run their offense through a bunch of like quick passes, kind of like what we used to see with Golden State. Like super motion offense, like finding an open shooter, driving, kicking. But when you have good defenders like Middleton and Holiday and even Brook Lopez with just these long ass arms that can snatch these passes out of the lane, it makes it hard to do that. So yeah, they've got to. I think it did match up pretty well defensively, making it difficult on them. So yeah, they need superhuman type games from Paul and Booker to really win. Which is it's always a little bit concerning when you need, because I don't think the Bucks need crazy performances from anyone but Giannis to win. Average performance from Holiday and Middleton, I think, wins in games.
Yeah.
Awful performances from them is what loses them games, right? 1 of 11 from the field is what loses them games.
Yeah.
But if he drops like 15 points on halfway efficient shooting, I think they still are in a good position to win.
Yeah, I agree. And I think from the Suns' point of view, I kind of disagree a little bit in terms of they need superhuman performances. I think they need good performances from the big 3, if you will. Yeah. But they also need good performances from the supporting cast, which they rely on. So it's not like they're a team that just play like 5-6 players, right? They play their Cam Johnsons, the campaigns, the whatever Bridges, and these guys just need to hit more shots. Like Johnson played well, Bridges played all right, but like they need, like Bridges in game 2 was hitting every corner 3, like he was on fire, so like he shouldn't be taking 4 shots a game. Like he should be finding more open space. They just need to find a way to get back to what was working in game 2, I think.
Yeah. So. No, I think that's an interesting point though, because I think that kind of goes to kind of one of the reasons why the Jazz have struggled in the playoffs, where they rely not on just one guy doing everything or 2 guys. They rely on like 5, 6, 7 players making meaningful contributions.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, it's much more difficult because everyone is like always liable for like a cold night. And then when you have
Yeah.
that many more people to rely on, there's that much more of a chance that you're not going to get as like full of an offensive contribution, as opposed to just relying on like 2 to 3 guys. So if one of them has an off night, then you need one other person to step up. But on the
Exactly.
Suns, if Bridges and Payne and Johnson or whatever don't have a good night, or Booker, then you need that many more people to kind of make up for those contributions. So it's a little bit more difficult, I think, when you rely, and that's why we see like a lot of the good or just championship teams of the past however many years is like you got 2 or 3 major offensive threats on your team carrying the offense, and the rest are kind of filling out the defense, rebounding, whatever. So it's kind of tough. It's always, I feel like, tougher when you have like that full team that you rely on to really win in the finals.
Yeah, it's true. I guess we haven't seen that in a while as well. So
right. I mean, if you think about it, like a lot of these past winners, it's like Kawhi Raptors, like they're not relying on many more people besides like Kawhi and
Lowry,
Siakam and Lowry. Like that's your team. Lakers, LeBron, AD, like. Danny Green didn't need to hit any shots. They're still able to win. Like, sure, if he hit him, it would have made it a lot less stressful, but it wasn't a requirement for them to win. Those Cavs teams, LeBron, Love, Kyrie. Yeah, even when he's here. Even the Warriors, like, that had like a lot of good players. It was like Steph and Clay and maybe KD for a few years. That's your offensive threat. And then Draymond, Looney, like good players, but they don't need to score for you to win. So,
true.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like the way it goes, especially in the finals with like younger players too. It's a lot of pressure, and shooting it's always possible to have an off night, but it matters 100 times more when it's the NBA finals. So.
No, of course. No, good point. Yeah, so let's see. I guess we've both got Bucks in game 4. So let's see what happens.
And then it should get interesting. Once a road team wins, then we'll see. But I don't think we have any more Scott Foster, at least for this upcoming game. So.
Oh, then Suns in 5.
I don't even think he ref that bad. I think the curse is just there. He could be like the TV ref reviewing the plays. He could take over, and it's still the curse carries over. Chris Paul cannot win with Scott Foster refereeing the game.
Oh man.
But I don't know. Should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to chatting about the rest of the series when we get on next week.
All right, sounds good.
All right, see ya.